Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is KarQ, and it's been a few years since the last Zarya tip video with Calvin. We miss him, but it's time to update the video with an up-and-coming Zarya educational streamer, A10.
Hey, what's up everyone? I'm A10, and I'm a content creator that specializes in educational content. I have multiple accounts in top 10 every season with my signature hero, Zarya.
So let's start off with the general tip.
So I see Zarya as all about creating a dance where you aim to move into contested territory and back into safety as perfectly as possible around your bubble cooldowns. Your life is worth a lot, so make it a priority to play safe when your bubble's on cooldown, such as playing around natural cover and corners to instantly disengage when things get a little bit too spicy. After getting charged, you should look to play aggressively and keep the threat of the self bubble as an escape tool or to respond to an enemy ability. Do not preemptively bubble aggressively, since you just allow them to wait it out and put yourself at risk of dying.
With that out of the way, let's get started.
Divas have a lot of different ways to trick you into feeling that you're safe to grab. The safest option is to demech her first so there's no chance it gets eaten, but that won't always be an option. Be patient, don't panic, and try to track her defense matrix patterns to prevent it from being eaten. A common mistake when Zarya players have grab is that their entire playstyle changes, making it obvious that they're looking to use it. Keep playing like normal, don't make it too obvious, and wait for an opening. Diva's bomb is based on line of sight, so you can use your bubble to block it for your team if they're caught in the open. Against Orisa, you have to be quick to act on the pull. If she activates halt before you self bubble, you will still be pulled, which can be very punishing. You have to be very aware and proactively bubble beforehand to maintain your position. Against Rhino, you need to be very patient with your self bubble to block his shadow. Don't trust your other tank to block it for you. Play for yourself because it's going to be much more consistent. If anyone remembers the good old days of Overwatch, a fire strike used to give 50 charge. But nowadays, it's not something you should specifically be bubbling for because it only gives 20. If you anticipate a few more projectiles coming your way with the fire strike, then sure, you can go for it early on, but don't instinctively do it every time. Assess the situation. Against Roadhog, bubbling a hook teammate is good, but they can still be bursted through it. If you can read it, bubbling the hook itself beforehand is even more impactful, so your teammate's position isn't compromised. If you have no bubbles available, use a secondary fire on his feet to boop him and mess up his aim.
We're more of a second kind of.
A Zarya bubble is a big counter to Sigma's flux. Focus on prioritizing your supports because they're the key to replenishing the 50 HP loss for everyone else caught in it. Winston is one of Zarya's hard counters. Because he doesn't give you much charge, it's impossible to break his bubble by yourself before he can leap out, and he can still boop you in promo for your personal bubble. The best thing you can do is work with your team to break his bubble, to force an early disengagement or walk away altogether and temporarily give up that space. If the enemy Winston is a juggling god, try to rock a jump to mess up his timing. You can even do it off his head like a footstool. Ball is also very difficult to kill and a big ammo sink. Reload times are costly and his blue adaptive shields don't give any ult charge. One tip to counter a Hammond pile drive is to just use personal bubble and position yourself in between the ball and a teammate to prevent everyone behind you from being knocked up. In a situation where you and the enemy Zarya both have grab, the one that grabs first will usually win simply because they're more proactive and have set it up. A counter grab usually ends up being wasted in most situations outside of coordinated play. Additionally, don't be afraid to solo grab a high charge Zarya if she overextends. A Zarya def is worth a lot because you have to account for the 10-second respawn time, the time to walk back to a fight, and the time to cycle some bubbles to ramp up her energy again. Against Ashe, it's very difficult to time the detonation of her dynamite. It can give a decent chunk of charge as an opener, but I usually avoid it. What's more consistent is self-bubbling her coach gun so she can't create enough distance between you if you manage to get close to her. You have to play corners against Bastion and catch him out of position. It's a slow burn where you try to build small advantages into their shields and position before you can look to take them down. Natural cover and teamwork is your best friend in this matchup. Against Doomfist, your bubbles hard counter everything in his kit. There's not much to say here, so just save it for whoever's being focused by him. Against Echo, she usually plays out of your effective range. The best thing you can do is time your bubbles so they counter the sticky bombs and focusing beam execution. In general, it's not worth using a grab for a normal Genji blade. It will take Genji's 2 swipes to break a bubble, which is incredibly powerful to stop the snowball. However, Nanoblade is absolutely worth it because you're now trading 1 ultimate for 2. Hanzo is a hard matchup because of his ability to burst shoot and his long range. If you can get close to him, with his self bubble there's almost no way for him to kill you before you kill him. Bonus tip, his sonic arrow makes noise whenever it lands. So if you notice that, you can pretend you didn't hear it and walk around the corner with a bubble to bait out charge from him or his team. Against Junkrat, you can use your bubbles to block the concussion mine damage and knockback, which is essential in stopping your squishy teammates from getting one-shot comboed. Junkrat is a bit of a double-edged sword, because although he's an easy source of charge, he can still displace you once your bubbles are down, and any displacement is frustrating on Zarya's end. If your bubble is down against McCree, look to use your secondary fire at his feet to displace him as he uses his flashbang. It will throw off his aim or mess up his panda hammer, giving you an opportunity to turn the tables on him. Zarya is often good into mid due to her ability to cleanse key targets with her bubble. If a group of people are frozen in her blizzard, bubbling Reinhardt will then allow him to protect your team while they are frozen. If possible, look to rocket jump out of the Mei ult, and use your self bubble as a last resort. Pharah will generally play outside of your effective range, but if you're playing high ground, you'd be surprised at how easy it can be to take down a Pharah if she sinks too low. Pharah has a great displacement tool with Concussive Blast that is detrimental to Zarya. Look to use your personal bubble to block it so that you can maintain your positioning. Don't let Reaper get on top of you and maintain your distance. If he manages to catch you off guard, don't be afraid to mix in secondary fires because the random boops will make it harder for him to hit you. When a Reaper is ulting, he might rely on his lifesteal to sustain himself, so using your bubbles will reduce his survivability. Soldiers will play outside of your effective range, and with his added mobility, there's not much you can do if he's aware of you. But when you get close enough, you have the ability to burst him before he can escape.
When a Sombra EMPs, it is possible to use your personal bubble to gain 40 charge. And more importantly, it will protect your shield health, the light blue portion here. During downtime between fights, be proactive and spin around with your laser if you think she's nearby scouting for information. Kicking her out of stealth randomly can help your team gain a lot of tempo. Symmetras often set up the turrets around chokes, which can be very devastating towards your team as you try to take space. You should look to use your cell bubble and walk through the choke and try to remove as many turrets as possible. Since they have reworked Torbjorn, the added movement speed he gains while overloaded means he can maneuver out of Zarya's range. Secondly, the armor he gains mitigates a lot of your damage, making it hard for you to kill him. Try to force it out of him and disengage, or ignore him until the overload is down and then you can easily kill him. If you're surrounded by his Coom, don't forget you can rocket jump so you don't spend as much time touching the sticky stuff. Tracer is difficult to track due to her small hitbox and things. Instead of lasering her, look to throw out secondary fires and melees to force her to recoil, which will make her more cautious to approach. Tracer's pulse bomb is based on line of sight, so if you see an opportunity, try to run in between the pulse bomb and your teammate so you can block the explosion. A Widow is untouchable if she plays very far away and you have to move into her territory. But if a Widow is looking to take space on attacking sites and you're on defense, try poking her out with your secondary fire. At higher charges, this is a very easy way to keep her in check. A target that Ana is pocketing is very difficult to kill, and she will usually be playing at a distance. You can use this to your advantage by getting between the target and Ana, where you can use your self bubble to block the healing. If you approach an Ana, don't bubble too early, or else she may wait it out before using sleep or nade. Pressuring her out first to force the early nade or sleep, and reactively bubble to both cleanse and block the CC. Baptiste's lamp is only overpowered if you don't plan to play around it. When looking to grab combo, make sure the enemy team is in an open area, such as them having walked through a choke so that the Baptiste has nowhere to throw a safe lamp. Additionally, the lamp has a line of sight, so if you manage to split the enemy team against a wall, the lamp will have to be thrown in a way that is easy to break, or it won't protect the targets that are split against the wall. When facing a Brigitte, look to poke her with secondary fire behind her shield because the shield is small and cannot protect her from the splash damage. If you're high energy, just beam down her shield because it's only 250 health and it will remove her ability to shield bash. Lucios can create a large amount of space from you very quickly, which is why when you're coming in closer to kill him, you want to time your personal bubble to block the boop. Remember, the bubble can block line of sight of the sound barrier, so you can use that to your advantage. While there's not anything specifically mechanical against the Mercy, you can still pressure a target that you will need to fly towards to heal,
and when her guardian angel is down, there's a window where you can look to kill her. Against Moira, don't use your bubbles against her orbs, as they do not give you charge. However, your bubble will cancel out her lifesteal. Moira is most vulnerable once her fate is down, so look to try and kill her when she uses it. Against Zen, look to see who he has discorded, as they are likely to receive a lot of incoming damage. On top of protecting them, you will cleanse the discord orb and gain a lot of charge. With your grab, aim to nullify the effectiveness of Transcendence. Use your grab on walls to split people between them so that the line of sight does not reach them. Thanks for having me on KarQ. I am so excited to be able to have done this for my favorite hero. Find me on Twitch and YouTube at A10nerd. It's been an absolute honor. Thank you again.